Okay, let's start. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Krutamastakanjalim Bhashpavari Paripurnalochanam Rakshasim Marutim Rakshasa Mantakam Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome back. Excuse me. Sorry for the initial confusion about Saturday and Sunday, but for the month of May, we'll continue on Sunday, and then we'll revisit for Saturdays in June. We're going to continue. This is chapter 21 and a little bit of chapter 22, where Kausalya Devi and Lakshmana are both expressing their dissatisfaction, their unhappiness, their very, very strong emotions about Lord Ramachandra going to the forest. And this chapter is Lord Ramachandra is trying to pacify both of them. Now with Kausalya Devi, one round of pacification is sufficient. With Lakshmana, there is a lot more back and forth. So we will hear it more than once. And next week, we'll hear Lakshmana's very strong arguments. But there comes to a point where there are certain expressions from both Kausalya and Lakshmana. And Lord Ramachandra's exercising of the orders of dharma, or putting dharma on one's head and following life on the basis of dharma, even if it is very painful, even if it doesn't feel right, but we know that's right. And that's what Lord Ramachandra is going to speak on. So we'll see how few things he speaks to convince Kausalya. Now, we, especially in Kali Yuga, we are very used to hearing rights and wrongs. And so when we hear from Kausalya and Lakshmana's side, we may think, oh, they're also right. And it's quite right as well. One is that the people always sort of support the victim. And here they think that Lord Ramachandra is being victimized. But Lord Ramchandra actually is taken on such a high road that it is unfathomable for them as to why he would do so. And we'll come to some lessons we can learn and apply. Maybe not at that level, but definitely similar principles, how we can apply. Okay, so we're going to start with chapter 21. Lakshmana, who's standing by Lord Ramachandra's side, is in a very angry condition. I'm going to pause for a second. I don't know why. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. So give me 1 second. I'll blow my nose and come back. All right, I'm back. Thank you. Sorry for that. So Lakshmana says, he begins 21st chapter by saying, Maya parshve sadhanusha tava guptasya raghava kaha samartho adhikam kartum krita antasya ivatishthataha. O Lord Ramachandra, when I am standing on your side, Maya parshve, parshva means to the side, sadhanusha, with my bow, tava guptasya, for the sake of protecting you. Okay. Who is there? Who is capable of facing off with me when I'm here as if I'm Yamaraj? Because nobody can fight God of death, Yamaraj. Very, very rare cases, and these are very great persons. But in general, nobody can fight death. She says, I'm death personified for anyone who comes to take away what has been given to you. And then he says, first he begins with the city of Ayodhya. Nirmanushyanam imam sarvam ayodhyam manujah rishabha. O best among human beings, karishyami sharei tikshnai yadhistasyi vipriye. Vipriye means displeasing. If the residents of Ayodhya support King Dasharatha, then with my arrows and bow, and what kind of arrows? Tikshnaihi, very, very powerful, very intense arrows. Sarvam Manushyan, Sarvam Ayodhyam, I'll finish up the entire Ayodhya. It will become completely desolate. That is his anger. Then it comes to Bharata. He says, okay, Bharatasya atha paksho va yo va asya hitam ichhati sarvan etan vadhishyami mruduhu I paribhuyate. He says, if anyone stands by Bharata's side, atha paksho, if anyone is on Bharata's side, and whoever is favorable to him, I will finish all vadhishyami. And what is the reason? Mruduhu hi paribhuyate. Because anyone who is soft and meek, they are the ones who usually get punished. So Lord Ramachandra, you're being soft and meek in this situation, and you're getting disgraced and punished. I will not tolerate that. So first it was Ayodhya, then it was Bharata, and now it's come to his father. Protsahitoyam Kaikeya sa dushto yadi pita amitra bhuto nissangam vadhyatam api. He says, if dushtaha, if our Pita, our father, his mind has become corrupt or evil, and he behaves like our enemy because of being instigated by Kaikeyi, then he says, Badhyatam api, I will incarcerate our father. And if necessary, I will kill him. And when I am incarcerating our father, I will have no sense of parental affection for him. Amitra bhuto. My heart will be completely free of any emotions. It will be very cold towards him. And if necessary, I will kill him. Vadhyatam. Then he gives a principle. So one may think, where is Lakshmana's anger coming from? Here is the principle. Guror apya valiptasya, guror api avaliptasya, karya karyam ajanat, upsakam pratipanna karyam bhavati shashanam. He says such certain persons, if they cross the boundary of what rules are expected of them, then they are liable for punishment, and that person can be guru also. Guror api. Okay. So if a spiritual master becomes arrogant, or if he cannot distinguish between good and evil, then even such a person can be chastised, admonished, or rejected. Now, exactly the words that Lakshmana has used, very similar is a verse in Mahabharata. And Prabhupada quotes that Mahabharata verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 20, verse number 1. So from Mahabharata Shanti Parva, 57th chapter, verse number 7, it says, Guror api avaliptasya karya karyam ajanataha utpatha pratipannasya parityago vidhiyate. Guror api. So Prabhupada writes that anyone who's supposed to be a guru but goes against the principles of Vishnu Bhakti cannot be accepted as guru. If one has falsely accepted such a guru, one should reject him. So Lakshmana is speaking proper principles. He's saying our father, who we revere as our spiritual master because he has taught us Dhanur Vidya, even such a person can be rejected because he has acted against dharmic principles. And he goes on in verse 20, he says, Hanishye pitaram vriddham kaikeya sattamanasam kripanam cha stitham balye vriddha bhavena garhitam. I mean, he's very, very upset with Dasharatha. So he uses very strong language. First he says, Hanishye pitaram, I will kill our father. And what is the rationale? Vriddham, although he is old, his old age has brought a sense of senility in him. He's become senile. And what is the symptom of senility? Kaikeya saktamanasam. Although he is very aged, his mind is attracted to this young woman Kaikeyi. And by that attraction, he has become kripana. Kripanam cha stitham balye. He's behaving like a foolish teenager. Vriddha bhavena. Although he is old, he's behaving like a teenager. The reference is to a teenager because that's the age where hormones are in their full blast and teenage infatuation, what we call puppy love, is very intense, and people do all sorts of foolish, silly things at that phase of life. So he's saying, although he is vriddha, vriddha means wise by age and by character, he's behaving like a foolish teenager. So I'm going to kill him. So this Lakshmana's anger, one may generally think that it is a material sort of anger. First of all, it's not. Why? Because Lakshmana is an amsha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his anger is on the side of transcendence, and that side of transcendence, the anger is arising from his very, very deep attachment for Lord Ramachandra. So just the way Arjuna used anger to fight the battle of Kurukshetra, that's how we hear from Prabhupada, or Hanuman burnt Lanka, Lakshmana is using this anger that is sourced from his very intense attachment for Lord Ramachandra, should not be mistaken to being the anger that ordinary people like me in this world sort of exhibit. Ordinary conditioned souls are victims of anger. Lakshmana is not victim to anger. Lakshmana's anger is very transcendental. So what happens is, in this section, both Kausalya and Lakshmana, they exhibit their attachment for the Lord. And it is coming in different ways. But Lord Ramachandra shows us that the same situation can be looked at from different angles. So from Lakshmana and Kausalya's angle, how they are looking at it is, what they are feeling is completely justified. But Ramachandra wants them to look at it from a different angle altogether. Okay. So Kausalya, who's been in the previous chapter said, I cannot live without you, please don't go to the forest, has now acquiesced to Lord Ramachandra going, because Ramachandra is not changing his mind, he is determined to go. So Kausalya says, all right, I cannot live without you. Plus Dasaratha seems to be completely infatuated by my or the other co-wife, Kaikeyi. So what's the point in me living here? I will go to the forest with you. And Ramachandra did not say, great idea, let's do it. He stops her from doing so. So here is where Valmiki Rishi is appreciating Lord Ramachandra's very, very high and pakka dharmic status. He didn't say to his mother, yes, in this house nobody loves us, let's go. Let the old man suffer and figure out how he has done us wrong. Nothing like that. Lord Ramachandra has absolutely no anger, no ill feeling towards Dasaratha or Kaikeyi also. Okay. So Ramachandra, one of the lessons is when Ramachandra says to Kaikeyi, Kausalya, no, you should stay here and we should all follow Dasaratha Maharaja's order. And here are the reasons why we should follow. First of all, he is the father. And whatever the father, whatever order he gives, we have to follow. And Lord Ramachandra quotes examples, which we heard last week. We'll hear it again because he uses it again and again. He gives the example of his own ancestor, King Sagara, and how King Sagara's children, in the course of fulfilling the order of their father, although they had to take on a whole bunch of agony on themselves, still they followed the order of the father. He gives the example of Parashurama, who followed the order of his father and even chopped off the head of his mother. But it's Ramachandra says, but he did it because he knew that his father had the power to bring his mother back, and that's what he would ask. Then there is the story of a son of Kashyapa. And in Ramayana, they refer to a son of Kashyapa. And that son served his mother in such a wonderful way that went to higher realms and sent his mother to the higher realms. So what happened is, I'm not going to get into the full details of the story. Kashyapa has many wives. Two of them, one's name is Kadru and the other is Vinatha. From Kadru came all the species of serpents and reptiles. So Vasuki's mother is Kadru. And from Vinatha came all the winged species, birds. So Garuda is Vinatha's son. Therefore, often Garuda is referred to as Vainateya. Son of Vinatha is Vainateya. Son of Kunti is Kaunteya. Similarly. So when the pot of nectar that was churned from the ocean came out, somehow or the other Kadru did not give a little share to Vinatha. So there was a little competition between the two sisters. So Garuda went through a whole bunch of maneuvers simply to get his mother a drop of nectar, so she can also get Amrita. So that's why that is referred to here as one who has served his mother very much. So Kaushalya gives those examples. So the lesson that we get is, although we may be prompted, and rightfully so, prompted to respond or react to something in an unrighteous way, one should learn to withdraw and not hanker after worldly prosperity. Not that one should not have prosperity. What it means is the hetu, the cause, should not be a material cause. If one is going to respond or react to a situation, then let the cause be something higher, not something that's lower or materialistic. Instead of, let's say, for money or for fame or something, let it be for the sake of religious principle. And one who does not allow himself or herself to act from the higher principle, Lord Ramachandra says, such a person becomes a victim of hatred. They develop bitterness and hatred in the heart. So the best way to protect oneself from that hatred is to not respond or react from a materialistic for a materialistic reason or cause. Let the cause be something higher. That's a very important lesson to learn. Okay. So first, Lord Ramachandra says that he's refuting when Kaushalya said, listen, the kingdom came to you according to the rules of dharma. You're the oldest son. When the king becomes older, it has to come to you. So dharmic rule is there. Okay, first one. Second, this order of you going to the forest has not come from Dasharath Maharaj. It has come from Kaikeyi. So these are not your father's words. These are Kaikeyi's words. And then, so Lord Ramachandra says, well, he says, regardless whether it was coming from my dharmically or not per se, I cannot break the promise that my father made. For me, I place him and his word higher than anything else, because he is not only my father, but he's also my spiritual master. And so, not only me, but Lakshmana, Sita, and yourself, Kausalya Devi, my mother, we should all follow his orders. Okay. So he says, yes, mother's word and father's words, both are to be honored. Okay. It's not that one cannot be honored and the other should be. No, both should be honored. Yet there is a hierarchy. Okay. And the hierarchy is that the father's word must be followed. Another reason is you're the mother, he's the father, but also remember, he's the king. So the king's word supersedes even the father's word. In this case, they're the same person. So he says, when the father orders, even if it is to kill a cow, there is precedent set that it was done. It was done by the order of the father. So Lord Ramachandra's refutation is, Naham dharmam apurvam te pratikulam pravartaye. Purvam ayam abhipreta gataha marga anugamyate. Listen, mother, I am not creating any new dharmic principle. Naham dharmam apurvam. Apurvam means new. Purvam means something that happened previously. Apurvam means something new. Naham dharmam apurvam te pratikula pravartaye. I am not going to do anything then it is new or created by me, or which is against or unfavorable to dharma. In fact, what I'm doing, purvam ayam abhipretaha. I'm only accepting the principles that have been previously followed by anugamyate, by my predecessors. I'm just simply following their footsteps. Now, this is a very, very important principle that Rupa Goswami tells us, sato vrite, that one should follow in one's life the principles set forth by the previous saintly persons. Okay, so the only dharma or only principle that Lord Ramachandra says one did not follow, or the sages did not follow, is there in the 9th canto, where Soma abducted Brihaspati's wife Tara. Okay, so then there is this Vedic injunction that a mother is 100 times more respectable than the father. So here's that Pituhu Shatam Gunam Mata Gauravenatirichyate. That a mother is 100 times more respectable than the father. So there is a slight but important distinction. That the mother should be respected 100 times more than the father, but that does not mean that one should obey her more than obeying the father's word. Affection and obedience are distinguished in this case by Lord Ramachandra. Okay. And the Vedic injunction is that the son, the child, is under the father's control. So then Lord Ramachandra turns to Kausalya and Lakshmana and says, listen, I know, I can completely understand the love you have for me. And I know my going to the forest is causing both of you extreme distress and grief. And that is nothing but symptom of your love for me. I understand that and I feel it completely. But please also understand that for every human being, the true shelter is in following dharma. In whatever condition one may be, one may give up artha, one may give up kama, because both artha and kama come from dharma. One may give them up, it's okay, but one should never give up dharma. Because once you give up dharma, then you're not even a human being. So don't go by I know it's painful to you, therefore, no. It may be painful, but following dharma is never a easy path. Never an easy path. So he says, I will follow. And then he tells Kaushalya, listen, you cannot leave Dasarath Maharaj and come back. Come with me to the forest. One, because he is the king and we all should follow his order. And then he gives the larger relationship context. He says, let's all of us just step back and consider something. He is a aged person for 60,000 years. So Kausalya Devi, my mother, how many thousands and thousands of years he has lived with you and you've lived with him. And there has never been even one reason for you to dislike him. Nothing. He has never crossed or violated any dharma. Never. In fact, he was invited by the demigods. Okay. So, and not so. And in all these years, he has just been giving and giving and giving. Such a loving person he has been. And once he has asked something of us. And that one thing we don't like, is that a reason to completely end this relationship? Is that what relationship is about? That you don't like one thing and that completely destroys and somehow obviates the millions of things that he has done for you and given you joy that you cannot even fathom? And what kind of love is this, that as long as things are favorable to me or us, we are happy in this relationship, and somehow suddenly there is something that's not so likened or favorable, and that's the end of the relationship? That's it? Should a relationship be so fragile? And this is something I'd learned from my spiritual master. I shouldn't say I've learned. I heard, I wish I had learned, that when there are some stresses in a relationship, it's always to go back, and he used the word, look at the broad brush stroke. Look at the person as from the time, let's say you know them and others know them till this point. Is their behavior, their character consistently untrustworthy or something? Then maybe there is no relationship. But if they've demonstrated to you they're being trustworthy, they're being loving, they've been caring, they've been supporting, all of that is there. And there is only one, maybe two instances where, you know, it has not been good, or there something has happened, they've violated some trust, or something has happened. Is it worth rejecting the entire relationship? This is what Lord Ramachandra is teaching. That what kind of love is this? Now, this is a good lesson for us trying to perform Krishna Bhakti or Rama Bhakti, or generalized Vishnu Bhakti, that we're not to be fair weather servants. That as long as I'm asking for different things or whatever, both gross and subtle gifts from Krishna, and as long as I'm receiving them, then, you know, my enthusiasm is fueled by it. And something seems unfavorable, and that's it. My whole relationship becomes challenged. Then it's an indicator that perhaps there was no relationship in the first place, or it is grounded on something that's very materialistic. It's a good examination for us. A similar principle is there in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that there are great souls who come to me out of distress, artha, or looking for money, artharthi, or artharthi means one who's distressed because of financial difficulties. And then he says jigyashu, one who's just inquisitive. Now, many of us or many people take shelter of bhakti mostly from these two categories. Artharthi, financially they're in destitute or very, very threatened state, or they're under some severe distress, mental or physical. And they come to Krishna hoping for relief. That may be the entryway. But one thing that everyone should do in one's bhakti is look back in history and say, what was my reason for taking up Krishna bhakti? If it was for jnana, great. Mostly inquisitiveness is also rare, but if it's there, great. It's probably one of these two situations. Then after so many years of practicing bhakti, one should look back and assess within, are those original vulnerabilities, those original stress giving issues still present? Or have I moved on, even if it's a little bit, have I moved from that position to my relationship with Krishna or Lord Ramachandra, Kishore Kishori, to the point where it is little bit free of the grip of those anxieties and fears? If not, somewhere we haven't moved in that relationship. And if the grip is less, great. That's Krishna's mercy in a very amazing way. Then Lord Ramachandra says, Lakshmana, whatever you're saying from Artha Shastra is perfectly correct. So Artha Shastra is those rules that govern or that are applicable to financial transactions. Okay, you sign contracts. You're on the line. You put on the line your word, and there is agreement. You have to honor that agreement. Or Rajniti, politics, the principles of governance, the principles of managing or administering a kingdom or a state. And the third is Niti Shastra, morality at a very mundane level. He says Niti Shastras, what you're speaking, are correct and they are applicable. But higher than Niti Shastra is Dharma Shastra. And Dharma Shastra says something different. Follow the order of your superior. So then he says, this is the third verse, one of my favorite verses in chapter 22. He turns to Lakshmana and he says, Nigruhya rosham shokam cha dhairyam ashritya kevalam avamanam nirasyenam harsha grihitva harsham uttamam. So at Gita Nagari, I had given a whole detailed I guess analysis or discussion on this, but here are some. Lord Ramachandra says to Lakshmana, give up certain things and hold on to certain things. Okay, so what is it that one should be giving up? Rosham, this anger that you have, you give that up. And the rosham, the anger, is towards our father. And shokam cha, and you have a lot of lamentation or grief, and that grief is for me. Give that up also. Okay. Now, the reason rosham and shokam are together is because Ramachandra is saying you're looking at Dasharatha and me as enemy and friend. Because he is our enemy, that's how you see. You are seeing him as, you're seeing him with anger, rosham. And since I am your friend, you're seeing me as your friend, you have shokam. You have great grief. You're feeling my pain. Or you think that going to the forest is difficult, unfair, and you're feeling it. Okay. And the third is avamanam, the sense of disrespect or insult. Manam comes from the sense of being respected. So we say in Hindi, mananiya, somebody who's respectable, honorable. Like when you write a letter to any minister, you're supposed to write honorable such and such. You write to your congressman or congresswoman, you're supposed to write honorable congresswoman or congressman. So that is manam. And apamanam or avamanam is insulting. So he's saying you're feeling insulted. The insult is, I was promised the kingdom last night, and few minutes later, he changed his mind. So avamanam nirasyenam, just let go these three things and hold on to dhairyam, ashritya. Dhairyam is being sober-minded. Okay, just be stable. Don't become so agitated. Be sober first. And harsham uttamam grihitva, hold on to the pleasure. What is the pleasure here? So Lakshmana or any of us, Lord Ramchandra is using Lakshmana to teach us that one may find where is the harsha, where is the joy in the situation. And he's saying the joy is in following the order of Dasharath Maharaj. That is where the joy is. The joy is not in having a kingdom. The joy is not in being the ruler of people. The joy is not necessarily that I'm with my family. Well, that is joyful in general, but that's not the source of joy. The source is to find in following the order of the spiritual master. Whenever I hear this verse, obviously I think of so many great souls. Srila Prabhupada was given an order, and when he showed up in America, you've seen the film, Hare Krishna film, you've heard, you've read, I'm sure. No, he didn't know whether to turn left or turn right, or turn left or turn right. So many things, but Prabhupada was never angry. Prabhupada was always happy that I'm trying to fulfill the order of my spiritual master. He said, so find joy in that you've been given an order. Just imagine how lovingly, because there is love for us, he has given us an order. Actually, he's given me an order and you want to come along, but I'm going because that's what I'm seeing in Dasharatha's order. So now you restrain your anger and learn to see the greater principles that are operating in this, or operate from higher principles. Any questions, comments, thoughts? This is a little difficult, at least for me, to decipher, because on the one hand, Lord Ramchandra being the king is fully justified. So we may see as fair and unfair, which is true, it is unfair. Lord Ramchandra is not seeing fair and unfair. Lord Ramchandra is seeing the order of of his father and the king. And he doesn't think it is unfair because the king can change his mind. But what is not okay for him, that he has made a promise to Kaikeyi. He made a promise to Kaikeyi's father, and will go down in history that he broke his promise. And that's not okay for Lord Ramachandra. He wants to uphold the honor of his father, even if it means severe distress to himself. All right. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
Like as you mentioned, if
come closer to the phone because I can't hear you.
Right now, Prabhu?
Not so great, but let's try.
So when you mentioned, Prabhu, that if that uh, our opposition is not based on higher principles, then hatred develops. So is it like in our own heart the hatred develops?
Yes. So it's a comment by one of the acharyas that Lord Ramachandra is saying that he is, and Valmiki is showing us that Lord Ramachandra is the supreme Brahman or Parabrahman, the supreme personality of Godhead. And we know Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, that Dharma is the breathing or the words of the Supreme Lord. So he can never violate it, and he will never anyway. And one of the things is if one gives up dharma and pursues materialistic or worldly things, then one opens the door for the heart becoming bitter. Because when that is lost, a person can become bitter. Or when one gains it also, then one can become envious or jealous or bitter as well. So yes, in our heart.
Follow Prabhu. That many times. Is it okay, Prabhu? Can I have
Yeah, I can hear a little bit.
so many times I don't understand. Sometimes I mean, what is my exact intention of doing something, and then it's difficult to decipher whether it is for service or for my own pleasure, or what is there any higher principle I'm trying to follow. So how can I work toward this more, Prabhu, so that I can better understand my own intention and then take up that initiative very confidently.
Well, there is no alternative to practice. And the practice is uh, instead of reacting, one has to learn to respond. And part of that response is then a thorough consideration of what is it that I'm actually responding to. So let's say someone said something. Let's start there. Someone said something. I did not like it. And I want to, whatever, punch back. I want to say something back. They were sarcastic. I want to be sarcastic. They were rude. I want to be rude. Whatever. I'm talking at a very gross level at this point. Most of the times, our reaction is an eye for an eye, because it gives some sort of solace. Right? And it's justified too. They were rude, so I can be rude too. So while that may satisfy that particular exchange for the moment, one has perhaps missed or not taken advantage of an opportunity to see things differently. So one should ask, what am I reacting to? So very likely, it's not the words the other person has said, but how it has entered our heart. If it has caused some pain or some distress, I'm responding to that distress. Now, if it is clear that, okay, I'm distressed in a particular way, what's the best way to explain or help the other person see or get some insight into what my distress is? In general, women are more gifted in this department than men are. And recently, Himangi and I were having a conversation on some topic, and what came out of it is this: women are usually, if not all, usually or generally speaking, women put words to their uh, emotions. and men put words to their reactions. Therefore, the more reactive, you don't know what has happened. But some people are very good. They can put words to their emotions, and that's something to learn.
Just to understand it clearly, you're saying that I can understand my own intention by.
Sure. I mean, who else will understand your own intention? Others cannot. Paramatma can, or the Supreme Lord in the heart can, but we can also.
It's not reacting to the situation, but discern it properly and then respond to it.
Correct. Correct. But first, know what is it that any one of us is responding to. Because we're definitely feeling those feelings. They're in the subconscious. We're feeling them. Putting words to them would be better.
So I will need to understand it properly. I'm sure there must be other questions. So is it okay to write to you?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
Sure. I'm not a good writer. I prefer talking. I'm not skilled at writing. Some people are so gifted at writing. I'm very bad at writing. It takes me a lot longer to put some words nicely, but I'm better off speaking.
Your answer is very important for me because it's a new direction for me because I didn't.
Sure. So how about this? You write and I'll speak.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I had the question from last week that you told that Rama always smiles, but after Sita was kidnapped, was he smiling?
Was he smiling? Valmiki Ramayana says he was crying very, very intensely.
Then how is Rama always smiling?
So Lord Ramachandra's crying is coming from the ecstasy of love. And that ecstasy of love is not a sad state, but a very, very high level of state of love and affection.
Okay, Prabhu.
Same personality can have completely contradicting features simultaneously in him. This is why he's personality of Godhead. So is he in the atom?
What, Prabhu?
Is the Supreme Lord in the atom?
No, Prabhu.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the entire creation in him?
Yes.
So he's the smaller than the smallest and larger than the largest at the same time?
Yes, Prabhu.
So he can be smiling and crying at the same time?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I think the best part of the class was the joy in following the spiritual master's instruction. I really liked it. Thank you so much for sharing this, Prabhu.
Well, this is Lord Ramachandra's instruction. Here's the verse. Nigruhya rosham shokam cha dhairyam ashritya kevalam avamanam nirasyenam grihitva harsham uttamam. Harsha. He doesn't say sukha. He says harsha. Harsha means not just happiness, but great joy. There's this sense of cheer, this sense of very elated condition. Wow, I'm so amazed that I got an instruction. So in Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to somebody, Narahari, I think, I will not see you for 1,000,000 years, for 1,000,000 births. I may have gotten the personalities mixed up. One, because I haven't been thinking about Chaitanya Leela, it just occurred to me. So Narahari just stood up and started dancing. Oh, Jai, Jai, Haribol, Haribol. So they asked him, just now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chastising you. I will not see you in 1,000,000 lifetimes. He said, imagine 1,000,000 lifetimes later, I will be able to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What a blessing.
Yes, bro.
So he's very optimistic about it.
Yeah. Prabhu, sorry, very silly question. I mean, it is keep bothering me for a long time.
All right, I'll
But-
give you a silly answer. Go ahead.
So, Prabhu, we see that there are few instances when we get to know that Lord Ramachandra already knew that what is going to happen. So, for example, like when he was in childhood, and then he was playing with I think Keki, and then he asked for promise, and then he said that okay, one day we have to send me to forest, something like that. The second incident we see that after getting married, instead of going to Kaushalya, he directly goes to the chamber of Mother Keki, just to indication that your role now is going to start. So it means he knew what is going to happen. So when after the news of coronation, he got the news of okay, he's going to the forest, and he didn't get agitated. So I mean that's fine. I mean, and because he knew everything in advance. So uh, and he doesn't get bothered, agitated, or shocked. So it is quite natural because he knew about it. So what is so special or something that we need to learn, or like what is the thing which is becoming attracting to Lord Ramchandra here?
Well, then the same argument is why be attracted to anybody, any of the features of the Supreme Lord, because he already knows. But that means our understanding of the Supreme Lord, first, it's difficult to understand him. The second is even the basic context of the Supreme is little hazy. So now let's take Lakshmana for the moment. Lakshmana is also the Supreme Lord. Why is he angry? He should have known. No? He should have known. You agree?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
All right. So now take another example, just to sort of build it a little bit.
Yeah.
Did little Krishna know that if he will break the butter pot, Mother Yashoda will come with a stick?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. Then when she was holding with a stick, we sing the song Rudantam tu netram, right?
Yeah.
He's crying, and the mascara in his eyes is smearing his beautiful cheeks, and he's very, very scared. So is Krishna scared or not scared?
He's, I mean, scared. Yeah.
Why should he be scared? He's not scared of great demons. Great demons was nothing in front of him. But little stick from Mother Yashoda's hand is fearful. So how can Krishna become afraid? So the point is, one may say, well, he's putting on a drama. If it's a drama, then what's the point? Why should we even follow him? So this is rasa. Rasa is part of relationships where although his godhood, being God, is all the time present, his other Shaktis, especially the Shakti Hladini, that allows for him to, not allows for him, that facilitates his experience with his devotees, plays roles. It's playing a role. And facilitating very wonderful, loving exchanges. So then, the same argument would be, he already knew Ravana will take away Sita Devi, then why cry?
Yes, yes.
So why even build a bridge? You could have just sat there and said, nothing will happen to Sita Devi, she'll come back one day, don't worry. Right? Why did Krishna have Arjuna fight the whole Mahabharata, Kurukshetra war if he already knew the outcome? So the framing of the question, I'm sorry to say, is not correct or not complete. Yes, he is the supreme. When he appears, he's fully in that Leela. That's why it's called Leela. He's fully absorbed in that Leela. And that is why he is considered inconceivable. I mean, just by performing some bhakti, if we can quickly discern the Supreme Lord, I mean, that's not possible, no? Brahma Samit, Lord Brahma cannot fathom the Lord. Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso munipungavana. Great munis, Pungavas means that the experts, they have performed thousands and thousands and thousands of years of austerity, no drinking, no eating, just breathing. And they're trying to capture the Lord, the form, the holy name, his Leela for a moment in their minds, but he cannot be caught by them. This is the inconceivable nature of the Lord. But for his bhaktas, he openly reveals himself. So inconceivability must be there. Right? It's inconceivable. How? Just by speaking about this Shakti is working, that Shakti is working, we can speak, but language itself then becomes limited. So we can only sort of get an idea or a glimpse by discussing it. And that is enough to make our heart feel very attracted to him. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, that this inconceivable personality, we're trying very sincerely to hear about and appreciate, so he may decide to reveal himself to us. Swayam eva spurhati adaha. Rupa Goswami doesn't say we will put on a ladder and go to him. He has to come down to show himself to us.
Yes. Thank you, Ru. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Paramartha Das.
Haribol.
So I have heard from you on this broad stroke principle number of times before, on how we should not just judge a person based on one-off sort of incident, but rather see the overall experience of the person. Now, I do have a tendency to generalize things. So if I go in the negative direction, it may be like broad stroke forming a negative opinion about someone. Now I was thinking that, so probably like when it comes to the positive consideration, one should probably apply the apichet suduracharo verse, where one is just trying to have a broad stroke understanding of the positive qualities that one has observed. And at the same time, when we are looking at the negative things over a period of time, then we apply the Tattenukampam verse, trying to see that mercy can reform anybody, and therefore try to make that adjustment. Is my understanding correct that we should have this kind of balance when we are looking at an overview of a person?
Yes. First is yes. But it should not make us our intelligence should not go to sleep. Um, so let's say someone has betrayed our trust. Um, it's not apichet sudurachara, it doesn't make them sudurachara. It could have been anything, a human error or some situation, whatever. It does not fall necessarily in the category of sudurachara. But let's say we're taking the example of someone betrayed our trust. We told them not to say something, but they said it or whatever. So one lesson may be, oh, it was a genuine mistake. It happens. So next time you're saying something, then you may want to be more, please keep this careful. And you move on. But let's say, something was very, very important and it happened and it's put you into a big soup. You don't hold them so irresponsible that, your relationship goes away, or you can express, hey, it put me in such a distressful condition, the damage control was way too much for me to do. And next time you may be a little thoughtful or careful about how do I say it, or should I even say it or not. And it doesn't make that person untrustworthy. It just makes you more cautious of what are the consequences if this comes out, will I be willing to bear it? Now, the verses that you quoted are Apitet Sudurachara and Tatte Anukampam are for very grievous, in speaking in general, are very, very grievous mistakes. And yes, that's true. Kindness and forgiveness can transform anybody. But kindness and forgiveness should not be that our active intelligence is shut out. I'm not sure that's what you're asking, but I just sort of I'm adding a little bit more to it.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your perspective.
Hello.
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 Hello, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji. Is Ramakant Das?
Well, hold on, Ramakant. Someone's trying to ask something.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Are you listening, Prabhuji? Prabhuji, I'm Gayatri. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, I'm a Gayatri, a beginner in the Krishna consciousness. And
me
as
too.
a profession, oh no, sir. As a professor, I'm a doctor, and so many times, so many patients come to me and ask for abortion. But usually I'm refused. But in some cases, they prefer suffer from this type of disease, which can be this life threatening for mother also. Like I want to share an example of my patient. One of my patient, her baby is suffering from thalassemia. Is the name of the disease. And in this disease, the baby is usually lack of hemoglobin, and the baby require blood transfusion in the twice a week. If not transfuse blood, then his baby is can't play, can't survive in a big cyanosed. And again, and after this, again this lady again got pregnancy, and in this time she want to confirm if this baby suffer from same disease or not. Then and they told if this baby again suffer from this disease, then we want to abort. So then, Prabhuji, what we do, what I will have to do?
Well, it's not your decision.
No, sir, they want abortion. That's why. If baby suffer from same disease, then this is one example.
I understand. But my point is, don't take on someone else's decision on your shoulder. What is your decision? Whether you are supposed to perform the surgery or no? Is that your decision?
No, sir. We just first we go for the examination for this baby suffer from same disease or not. That is my decision.
I mean, if someone wants to perform a test, are you going to say no to it?
They can test. No, sir. Yes, they can test.
Right. So again, you as, I'm not sure what the question is. You as a doctor, what you should do, or as that mother who's pregnant, what should she do? What's the question?
Sir, my question is, according to spirituality, abortion is very bad. It's a sinful procedure.
Right, but that is other
But
person's. So is meat eating is very sinful. You're not going to go stop everyone from eating meat, right?
no, sir, not a meeting, sir. Is already pregnancy is there.
No, I know. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Uh,
Yes, killing a fetus is very,
hmm.
very sinful. It has very serious karmic reactions. I get that, but I'm not sure what the question is. Is the question, what are you supposed to tell the pregnant lady? Or is the question that you as a doctor, what are you supposed to do?
No, sir,
What's the
no, sir.
question?
But in this condition, should we go for the abortion or not? This is my question. What
It
we do?
depends on the person. I mean, ideally, no. But
Then
we don't know
ideally,
what their situation is. We don't know their situation, and that is something each person has to take on their own shoulders
yes, Prabhuji.
and decide. Like, I'm not in their situation. I don't know financially how they're doing. I don't know what all family pressures they have. I don't know what social pressures they have. I don't know what trauma they have by which they're making the decision. But whatever decision they make, they have to bear on their shoulders. Is it
Okay.
something we would recommend? Absolutely not. We would not
Okay.
recommend an abortion. We would not recommend.
Okay.
But we can't bluntly say no because we don't know their condition. Not that I'm saying that yes, there is room for them to abort. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I don't know their situation. For someone who's not in that situation, it's a little easier to say yes or no very clearly. But one who's in that situation, the pain that they have to go through is very difficult to fathom. As friends and well-wishers, we might say, I don't think it's a great idea. But that decision is theirs, not ours.
Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry to interrupt
The
you.
same way, when someone is killing animals and eating meat, we try to educate in general that, hey, that person and you have a karma by which you have to help each other transcend. Okay? Get the support and go through it. That's true. Killing animals just for the pleasure of eating, that animal being killed is someone else's child also, right?
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
But yes, we don't recommend abortions at all. It's not a great idea. Now, in the general universal principle, one has to figure out what decision they want to take. I cannot make decision for you. You cannot make decision for me. But there are general guidelines and principles that we try to follow.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm intentionally keeping the answer very much near the gray space, and I know why, but I'm intentionally doing it.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ramakant, you had a question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Question back from to the topic of how King Bhagirath did severe austerities and was determined in bringing the river Ganga. So in his case, he was enthusiastic, determined, and patient in the whole episode. So at my level, how I could have the courage or have the enthusiasm going on in my relationship with Krishna and devotees when, yeah, I mean, things are not going when there are difficulties.
But the same principles apply. by utsaha nishchayad and dhairya, bhaktir prasidhyati. Bhakti becomes intensified or nurtured or grown by these three, like three more, but these three are playing that role: utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya. If utsaha goes away because the situation went away, or the whatever difficulty has come in, then that utsaha is on a fair weather condition. Everything is good for me, therefore I'm enthusiastic to serve Krishna. As long as there's an unspoken contract, I do this for you, Krishna, and make sure you do the same for me. Sukha sampati ghar aave, kashtu mite tanka, om jai jagadisha hare. Okay, that's not a contract. Nor does Krishna promise that. What Krishna promises is my devotees will learn how to become indifferent or transcend the difficulty. He never says difficulties will go away. So the question to ask is, where is my enthusiasm being sourced from? Where is it coming from? Or what is my conception of my relationship with Krishna? That is where my enthusiasm is sourced from. If it is sourced from something else, then the enthusiasm will also be up and down according to circumstances. Does that answer your question, Ramakant?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, someone else wanted to ask, I think Dheera Lalita Prabhu, or someone was wanting to say something when I was answering Gayatri Mataji's question.
Yes, sir. She is actually Yashashwini's younger sister. So I think she wasn't able to put the question right context. So what she was actually asking is that, in general, she avoids abortion as a doctor, and she knows the sinful karmic reaction. But there are certain cases when the abortion is necessary. Otherwise, it might there will be problem to the life of the mother. In such cases, if the doctor does, is it still considered a sinful or not?
There is always reaction. Okay, there is always reaction, but intention is also playing a role. Now, doctors doctors and soldiers have lot more. The term in English is wiggle room. Lot more space to manage those things than, let's say, you or I. We're not doctors. By being in the profession of being a doctor or a soldier, there are certain more empowerment. There is a lot more room for making certain decisions and choices. Now, the decision to abort or not is not the doctor's either way. It's the mother's. Okay, if the mother decides this way or that way, then she has the room for. I'm not suggesting she also decides, but there is always consequence. Whenever someone else's life is being threatened by our actions, there is always consequence. In case of doctors, they have a little bit more room to work with, but definitely there is reaction. Sure.
Yeah, I think she got the answer now. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Nityananda Pran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Shivaram Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances and all goes to Prabhupada. I'm trying to formulate my takeaway, so please bear with me.
Okay.
And if you can comment on it. So my main takeaway, which is like a really beautiful point, was the interaction with the Lord Rama and Lakshmana. Lord Rama explains that one should act in such a way that it is not from a materialistic place, from the point of friends and enemies, but okay, here is I'm forgetting the exact words, but essentially to act from a higher place, basically, instead of from a lower materialistic place. So,
More than lower materialistic only. He's also saying the anger that you're carrying towards Dasharatha Maharaj is simply because on one occasion he asked something of me or you that you don't like. Is that it? That's the reason for the whole relationship to go away? Why are you not considering that so many thousands of occasions where he has just given and given and given, and once he asks something from you, he's taking the context to a relational level where, yeah, okay, there is seeming injustice, but look at this from a relationship perspective. He just asked you one time. He didn't say give up your life. He just said go to the forest. So what? If our father says go to the forest, great. If he says come home, great. But we are more interested in the relationship of fulfilling his desire, not so much whether I like it or not.
Okay. Yes, bro. So basically, so I guess 2 points from me then. One is looking at it from a higher place, plus most importantly, preserving the relationship from a long-term perspective, how this person has been like that.
Right. So 3 levels of relationship. One, he's the king. You're the subordinate. You have to follow the order. Second is the father. You're the child. You have to follow the order. And third, it's a relationship. And in that relationship, he has given and given and given, and once asked something from you.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. I have one other question, if I might. Right.
Sure.
The way I understand it was that the relationship with the mother's instructions are placed slightly below the instructions of the father, and for myself, I'm okay, but I'm wondering how I can explain it to others who are coming from a more modern, everybody is equal, women's rights, and that kind of situation. So how can I basically understand and explain for others the particular issue here?
It's difficult.
Okay.
Because the traditional roles don't apply or don't apply as much now than previously.
Okay.
Yet the sort of counterbalance versus that the mother is 100 times more respectable than the father.
Okay.
Both are there. But when one has to break a tie, that both are giving orders, which to order, then the order of the father is placed higher.
Yes, bro. Okay.
Now it's a general principle. It's a general principle. We have moved so far from the Vedic paradigm that everything else is also in question, not just this one thing. Everything is questioned. So I mean, I wonder what situation you might find yourself where you may have to explain this to a modern context. I don't know.
Oh, it comes up.
So we generally take the idea of partnership, and for a child, the parent should work in partnership so that both say the same thing. And if there are any differences, then it's done behind closed doors, and in front of the child, it's always the same word. Mom and dad say the same thing.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hariva. All right, we have a couple of minutes before we end. Any final burning questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just continuing what Shriram Prabhu asked, you were saying one should not respond to a situation from material desire. If one does so, one's heart becomes afflicted by hatred. And to me, the question was, why hatred? I'm used to hearing the heart becomes hard, but then why this specific quality of hatred?
Hatred is called dvesha. Hardening is a general comment. What is the symptom of a hardened heart? Dvesha. Hatred or envy or jealousy, call it different things you want. But that's what it is. And one of the most formidable problems that plague a conditioned soul is dvesha. If you break up the word dvesha, it comes from du or dva is two, and isha, controllers. Two controllers, dvesha, the Supreme Lord and me, and we have a competition. Or both of us are trying to be controllers of the situation. Or I am exerting my superiority. That's hatred. When I'm superior, I have a different kind of hatred. When I feel inferior, I have a different kind of hatred, but it's still the hatred or dvesha. And it hardens my heart. It's not inconsistent. It's just giving a little bit more characteristic to it.
Okay, thank you.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, I have sent my question in the chat window to you, if at all time permits.
Oh, I can't see the chat, unfortunately, the way I'm organized here.
No problem, then maybe I can text you and then you can.
Yeah, I mean, while speaking,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can I
Haribol.
ask question before that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So in such situations, like when because of one person's unfair unfair request, so many other people were in distress. So in such situation, to avoid that, can we do something to not to change that so not everyone is put in distress because of one
I didn't
person?
understand the question. Say it again.
So because of one person's unfair request, so many other people were put in distress, right, Prabhuji? So in such situation, even in real life, if somebody is asking something like that, they have to be corrected, right? Because everybody
Yes,
else is in distress. So if that one person is
correct.
yeah.
Sure.
So
Right.
why something like that didn't happen?
In this case, it may be distressful, but what's important is for the king to remain on the platform of dharma. And dharma is to fulfill his promise. If he doesn't fulfill his promise, others may like it, but they will face a lot more distress in the future because you have an adharmic leader.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yeah. Don't just take one thread. One thread is definitely there, that everyone is in distress because they love Lord Ramachandra very much. And they don't want to see him go away. But the principle is the king cannot violate dharma and should not violate dharma. Forever it will go down in history that Dasharat Maharaj did not fulfill his word. When he represents those great kings that we heard last week, King Shibi, Alarka, Sagara. So, this is why in Bhagavatam, all that lineage is recited. So we get an idea. And we recite all our disciplic succession, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Like that, we recite Bhakti Vinod. Why? The reason we remember them is to give us strength and conviction that even if I say and do something, it may look distressful, but because it is in the line of this great line, in an overall perspective, it is beneficial. Or I don't want to be acting in that way when the rest of the line shows some total different behavior and character. This is what is called being in disciplic succession. And then Krishna uses the word, "Oh Arjuna, that line has been broken." Broken means those kings have deviated. Or with the passage of time, that connection has gone away. Dasarath is considered Rajarshi. Raja Rishi. How can the Rishi behave like that? So these are Ramachandra's considerations.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And one of his ancestors is King Harishchandra, right? Way back there. Harishchandra, because he made a promise, what kind of distress his family went through? Because the whole test was to see if Harishchandra will speak a lie even once. And therefore his family was put through so much distress, but he never violated it. So this was what we spoke, I think, last week, that there is a price to pay for treading the high road. There is a price to pay. And the price will be, for each one of us, a different currency, a different quantity, a different monetary, I'm using the word monetary, different value, different weight. But that's what it takes to walk the high road.
Prabhuji, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if sorry if I cut you, but Krishna actually, he broke the rules, and he just did not want to be moralistic in one of the translations I heard. But whereas, like when we take the example of Bhishma, he was more. It was more important for him to keep his vow. But whereas
there is not one religious principle that Krishna broke.
No, not the religious principle, but my thing is, like, he told that he will not fight, but for his devotees,
He didn't say he will not fight. He said, I will not pick any weapon.
He'll not pick any weapon.
So what did he pick? A chariot wheel. Chariot wheel is not a weapon.
But in one of the purports, we see that Krishna is ready to protect his devotees, and he is ready to do anything.
Sure. So the two questions are not connected, but still.
So I felt like Krishna
Krishna broke his promise to protect his devotee.
Yeah.
Even if you consider that. So what promise does Lord Ramachandra have to break to protect which devotee?
No, not break, but I thought, like, if this is going to give Dasharatha a lot of, like, he also died because of separation from Lord Rama. So I thought
So why did Krishna leave Vrindavan if everyone was standing along the banks of Yamuna lifeless? They were not eating, they were not sleeping, they were constantly crying, their eyes looking towards Mathura, and he never came back. Why put them in such distress at all? Just not leave Vrindavan.
Yeah, I see that it to intensify their love.
There you go, you got it.
Thank you.
So Dasarath Maharaj suddenly went from loving Lord Ramachandra to manifesting the highest forms of ecstasy of Vatsalya Prema in separation.
I understand now. Thank
Good.
you.
Welcome. All right, let's stop here. Okay. Amara Mataji, I'll have to see what you wrote. Can you text me what you wrote? And I'll have to read and maybe ask for some clarification.
Definitely, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for being so patient and tolerating me. Until we meet again next Sunday, Hare Krishna. May Lord Ramachandra give us the strength in the heart to take on the challenge of treading the high road. And if we are concerned or distressed by what pain it might cause by taking the high road, may his loving shelter soothe it for us, such that we find the courage, strength, and conviction to live by on that high road. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
That was wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.